Listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is going to sting. If you've ever felt like you're never the first choice, if you've ever been the guy she calls only when her plans fall through, if you've ever waited by your phone for a reply that never came, then you are living as her backup plan. And the brutal truth? It has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with you. See, most men walk through life thinking that if they just give more, if they just love harder, if they're more available, more giving, more nice, that she'll finally see their worth. But the problem is, when you try to prove your value, you're actually communicating that you don't believe you have value in the first place. And women, whether they realize it or not, will treat you exactly the way you treat yourself. Here's what I need you to understand. Women are not the issue here. The issue is the mindset you've been carrying. You've been programmed to think that being always available is attractive, that answering every text in seconds, saying yes to every request, and showing that you'll never walk away will somehow make her choose you. But let's face reality. How's that working out for you? You're ghosted, ignored, or kept on the sidelines as her safety net. She knows, deep down, that no matter what she does, if she cancels on you, if she disappears for days, if she gives you excuses, you'll still be there waiting. That doesn't make you a priority. That makes you a plan B. Let me paint the picture clearly. Right now, while you're sitting there overthinking why she didn't text you back, she's giving her time and attention to another man. A man she sees as higher value. A man she actually respects. And the reason is simple. That man doesn't chase. That man doesn't wait around. That man doesn't rearrange his life just to prove himself. And here's the part you probably don't want to hear. She's not treating him better because he's taller, richer, or better looking. She's treating him better because of the way he carries himself, because of his mindset, because he lives as the prize, not as the backup plan. You've been teaching her how to treat you. Every time you reply instantly, every time you let her cancel and reschedule without consequence, every time you accept being put on the shelf and taken down only when she's bored, you're telling her loud and clear, my time doesn't matter. My respect doesn't matter. I don't matter. And once you show a woman you don't matter to yourself, she will never make you matter to her. That's why the first step in breaking free from being the backup plan is this. Stop giving away your value so cheaply. Think about the last time you desperately tried to impress a woman. Maybe you bought her things. Maybe you bent over backward to make time for her. Maybe you dropped your own plans just because she sent one text. You thought that by doing more, you'd finally be seen. But let me tell you something that should hit you like a slap in the face. The more available you are, the less she values you. It's the law of scarcity. When something is rare, it's treasured. When something is everywhere, it's taken for granted. Right now, you're acting like a convenience store, open 24/7, always available, always ready to serve, and she's treating you exactly like that. But imagine this instead. Imagine being the man whose time is so valuable that when you say yes to a date, she feels lucky. Imagine being the man who doesn't get shaken by her mood swings, who doesn't crumble when she goes cold, who doesn't sit by the phone wondering why she hasn't texted back. That man isn't expendable. That man is the priority. And here's the truth. You don't need to become a different person to step into that role. You just need to change the mindset that's been holding you hostage. You need to stop begging for a place in her life and start building a life so powerful that she begs to be part of it. This is where Stoicism enters. Stoicism is not about being emotionless. It's about mastering your emotions so they no longer master you. It's about building an inner fortress so strong that no rejection, no ghosting, no disrespect can shake you. See, the man who chases is controlled by her approval. The man who waits by the phone is controlled by her attention. The man who panics when she pulls back is controlled by her emotions. But the Stoic man, he's controlled only by himself. He becomes the anchor, the prize, the priority not because he demands it from her, but because he commands it from himself. So let me leave you with this in part 1. If you feel like you're always her backup plan, understand this. It's because you've been treating yourself like one. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop begging, the moment you reclaim your value and your time, that's the moment the entire dynamic shifts. She won't see you as expendable. She won't see you as a convenience. She'll start to see you as the man she can't afford to lose. This is just the beginning, because in the next part, I'm going to show you the most powerful weapon you can use to make that shift permanent: emotional detachment. Once you learn it, you'll never be played again. Now that we've torn apart the illusion of being her backup plan, it's time to move into the skill that separates men who are easily controlled from men who can't be replaced. That skill is emotional detachment. Let me be crystal clear. Emotional detachment does not mean you don't care. It doesn't mean becoming a cold robot with no feelings. It means you care on your own terms, not on hers. It means you're not at the mercy of her mood swings, her games, her silences, or her approval. Because the truth is this: the moment she realizes she can control your emotions, she owns you. Think about the last time you were texting a woman and she suddenly went cold. At first, the messages were flowing cute emojis, fast replies, long conversations. Then out of nowhere, it's just one-word replies. K, cool, busy. What happens to most guys? They panic. They start rereading every word they sent, replaying every conversation, wondering, what did I do wrong? They type out long essays trying to fix it. They double text. They triple text. And every message screams, my emotions are in your hands. But the Stoic man, he doesn't flinch. He sees the sudden coldness, and instead of spiraling, he shrugs. He's busy anyway. He's not thinking, why doesn't she like me anymore? He's thinking, if she pulls away, that's on her. I've got things to do. And guess what? That's the man she starts to crave. Here's the harsh truth most men avoid. When she can make you anxious just by delaying a reply, when she can make you jealous just by posting a photo with another guy, when she can make you desperate just by saying she's busy, then you've already lost. Because she knows your emotions aren't under your control, they're under hers. But when you master emotional detachment, everything flips. She cancels on you last minute. You don't argue, you don't beg, you simply move on with your evening. She ignores your text. You don't sit staring at your phone like it's a lifeline you get on with your day. She tests your patience with games. You don't explode in anger or sulk. You stay calm, collected, untouchable. That's what makes you magnetic. Because women don't crave men they can control. They crave men they can't shake. The Stoics taught that your power lies not in what happens to you, but in how you respond. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In relationships, outside events are her moods, her actions, her attention. You don't control those, but what you control is your reaction. When you no longer allow her behavior to dictate your state of mind, you become dangerous, because now she can't pull you into chaos. And here's the beauty of it. When you stop needing her approval, she starts craving yours. Let's run another example. You're dating a woman. At first, she's all in texts, calls, energy. Then, she starts to drift. Most men will try to tighten their grip. They'll start chasing harder, trying to fill the gap, overcompensating. But the Stoic man does the opposite. She pulls away, he gives her space. She tests his patience, he stands firm. She tries to trigger a reaction, he stays calm, almost unbothered. And do you know what happens next? Her curiosity spikes. She starts to wonder, why isn't he reacting? Why isn't he begging for me? Why is he so calm when every other man would be losing his mind right now? That's the seed of attraction. That's when she realizes, this man is not like the others. Now think about the opposite. The men who crumble, who lash out, who get insecure the second she pulls back. They beg, they plead, they get emotional, they show jealousy. And what does she see? Weakness. Predictability. A man who can be toyed with. But the man who practices emotional detachment, He's solid. He's grounded. He doesn't chase storms. He becomes the calm in the middle of them. That is what makes you irreplaceable. And listen carefully, this isn't just about women. Emotional detachment is a weapon you carry everywhere. At work, when your boss criticizes you, do you crumble, or do you absorb it calmly and respond with strength? With friends, when someone disrespects you, do you lash out, or do you calmly enforce your boundary? In life, when things don't go your way, do you spiral, or do you stay focused? A man who controls his emotions controls his destiny. A man who doesn't becomes controlled by everyone else. Now imagine this. She's used to men blowing up her phone, chasing after her, begging for attention. And then she meets you, a man who isn't shaken, a man who doesn't chase, a man whose emotions are his own. That man instantly stands out. He doesn't just become another option in her life. He becomes the man she respects, the man she craves, the man she prioritizes. Because women are hardwired to respect stability, and emotional detachment makes you the rock in a world of chaos. So, let me make this clear. If you want to stop being her backup plan, emotional detachment is your first weapon. Without it, every little silence, every mood swing, every rejection will control you. With it, you become untouchable. In the next part, we're going to take this further, because once you've mastered detachment, you need to learn how to set boundaries that demand respect. Without boundaries, you'll keep falling back into old patterns. With boundaries, you'll finally command the respect you've been craving. And that, my friend, is the next level. Now that you've armed yourself with emotional detachment, it's time to build the structure that protects your value. That structure is called boundaries. And let me tell you, most men either have no boundaries or their boundaries collapse the second they feel attraction. They'll say, "I won't tolerate disrespect," but the moment she shows them attention, they bend. They'll swear, "I won't accept being taken for granted," but then they stay, hoping she changes. And that's why they lose respect. Because here's the truth. A man without boundaries is a man without respect. And a man without respect is nothing more than an option. Picture this. You're talking to a woman, everything is going well, then suddenly she cancels on you last minute. No apology, no explanation, just a quick, "Can't make it, maybe next time." What do most men do? They brush it off. They laugh it away. They say, "It's okay, don't worry about it." And deep down, they feel a sting, but they ignore it because they're afraid of losing her. But here's the problem. By ignoring that boundary, you've just taught her one thing: your time doesn't matter. And if your time doesn't matter to you, it won't matter to her either. So what's the Stoic approach? You don't argue, you don't beg, you don't throw a tantrum. You simply make it clear your time is valuable and you don't give second chances so easily. A calm, simple response. I don't reschedule when people cancel last minute. If you want to see me, you'll have to make it work. That one sentence sets the tone. No anger, no drama, just boundaries. And boundaries spoken without fear are 10 times more powerful than boundaries shouted in anger. Let's break it down further. A boundary is simply a rule for how you allow others to treat you. It's the line you draw around your self-respect. Without boundaries, you invite chaos. With boundaries, you command order. Here are 3 areas where most men fail to set boundaries with women. Time. You let her waste it, cancel plans, or keep you waiting. Respect. You tolerate disrespect, sarcasm, or testing because you don't want to seem difficult. Energy. You give and give attention, validation, effort, without noticing she's not giving anything back. Every time you allow these violations, your value decreases, not because she's cruel, but because you're teaching her you don't value yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Boundaries are not about telling people what to do. They're about showing, through action, what you will and won't accept. A man who respects himself doesn't need to argue, beg, or explain. His boundaries are felt in his silence, in his absence, in his refusal to tolerate disrespect. That's Stoicism in action. Calm, firm, immovable. Let me give you practical examples. She constantly texts you late at night when she's bored, but ignores you during the day. Most guys will jump at any attention. You don't respond at 2 a.m. You show her you're not an entertainer at her convenience. She flirts with other men in front of you, just to test your reaction. Most guys will blow up in jealousy, lose composure. You simply disengage. You don't compete for her respect, you withdraw yours. She cancels on you repeatedly, expecting you'll always be available. Most guys keep waiting. You move on. Your time is valuable, and if she can't respect it, she doesn't get access to it. That's boundaries in action, not emotional, not reactive, just firm. Here's the difference. Weak men think love means tolerance. They think attraction means sacrificing their standards. They think boundaries will push her away. Strong men know the opposite is true. Boundaries don't push her away, they pull her closer. Because women don't trust men who bend, they trust men who stand firm. And when you stand firm, you send one undeniable message. I respect myself, and if you want to be in my world, you must respect me too. And here's the bigger picture. Boundaries don't just apply to relationships, they apply everywhere. At work, if your boss piles on tasks without respect for your time, do you just swallow it, or do you set limits? With friends, if someone constantly uses you, cancels on you, or disrespects you, do you stay quiet, or do you distance yourself? Life will test your boundaries every single day, and every time you fail to hold them, your value decreases, not just in others' eyes, but in your own. Now, imagine how a woman feels when she meets a man who doesn't bend, who doesn't allow disrespect, who calmly enforces his boundaries without anger. She feels respect. She feels curiosity. She feels attraction. Because boundaries create tension. Tension creates desire. And desire creates respect. That's why boundaries are not just protection, they are attraction. So remember this. Without boundaries, you will always be an option. With boundaries, you become a priority. And now that you understand boundaries, it's time to connect them with the most powerful principle of all, the idea that actions always speak louder than words. Because a boundary means nothing if it's only spoken. It must be enforced. And in the next part, I'm going to show you how to replace words with action, so your presence alone commands respect without you having to say a thing. Up until now, you've learned to stop being a backup plan by mastering emotional detachment and by setting firm boundaries. But here's where most men fail. They talk too much. They explain too much. They beg, justify, or argue. And let me tell you this, a man who relies on words to prove his value will always lose to the man whose actions speak for him. Because words are cheap. Every man can say, I'm confident, I'm different, I won't tolerate disrespect. But when the moment comes, when she tests him, most fold. That's why Stoic men don't boast, they don't threaten, they don't over-explain, they show. Picture this. She cancels on you last minute. You feel disrespected. What do weak men do? They complain. They say, why would you cancel? I was looking forward to this. You don't value my time. They turn it into an argument, hoping words will fix it. But words don't fix disrespect. Only actions do. The Stoic man, he doesn't argue. He doesn't even raise his voice. He simply doesn't reschedule. He pulls back, silently communicating. My time is valuable. If you waste it, you don't get another chance. No speech, no lecture, just action. And that silence echoes louder than any words ever could. Listen carefully. Every time you talk too much, you give away your power. Every time you explain, defend, or justify, you lower your value. Because high-value men don't explain. They demonstrate. Don't say, I'm not desperate. Show it by not chasing. Don't say, I won't tolerate disrespect. Show it by walking away from it. Don't say, "I'm focused on my goals." Show it by being too busy to be available at her every whim. That's how actions replace words. Epictetus, one of the great Stoics, said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Think about that for a moment. Don't tell people who you are. Don't beg them to see your value. Live in such a way that they cannot ignore it. If you value yourself, it will be seen in how you walk, how you talk, how you move through the world, and most importantly, in what you tolerate and what you refuse to tolerate. Let me give you some real examples of actions over words in relationships. Scenario 1. She flirts with other men to test you. Most guys get jealous, argue, accuse her. The Stoic man, he doesn't compete. He simply distances himself. She sees instantly that her game didn't work because he doesn't reward it with drama. Scenario 2. She starts replying less, testing your patience. Most guys double text, triple text, beg for attention. The Stoic man, he mirrors her energy. If she pulls back, he pulls back too. His silence communicates everything. Scenario 3. She disrespects your time or effort. Most guys complain, hoping she'll change. The Stoic man, he removes himself. No rescheduling, no begging, just action. These are not punishments. These are standards. And standards require no explanation. Here's what separates weak men from strong men. Weak men think words can save them. They try to convince her, to argue, to explain. They think if they say the right thing, she'll respect them. Strong men don't convince. They don't argue. They don't explain. They act. And here's the paradox. The less you speak, the more your silence speaks for you. Women feel it. They sense it. And respect naturally follows. There's another layer to this. Words can be faked. Any man can say, "I'm confident, I'm high value," but actions can't be faked. When you walk away from disrespect, when you stay calm under pressure, when you prioritize your time, those actions reveal your true worth, and that's what women respect. Because women don't fall in love with promises. They fall in love with patterns, and patterns are built through consistent action. So ask yourself, are you talking too much? Are you over-explaining? Are you trying to convince her of your worth with words? If yes, stop. Stop explaining. Stop convincing. Stop defending. Instead, show her. Let your silence, your distance, your composure do the talking. That is the Stoic way. So remember this. Words might impress her for a moment, but actions will define how she treats you forever. A man who talks about respect won't get it. A man who acts with respect for himself will. And now, it's time to explore the next piece of this puzzle, the power of mystery. Because once your actions begin to speak louder than words, you need to master how to remain unpredictable, how to stay just out of reach, so she keeps chasing your presence. And that's exactly what we'll dive into next. By now, you've learned detachment. You've learned boundaries. You've learned that actions will always speak louder than words. But if you really want to stop being an option, you need to master one of the most powerful forces in attraction. That force is mystery. And here's the truth. Men who reveal everything too soon lose their value too soon. Men who overshare, who explain every detail, who pour out their emotions on the table become predictable, and predictable men don't inspire desire. But the man who carries mystery, the man she can't quite figure out, the man who seems calm, confident, but just out of reach, that's the man she chases. Think about the last time you met someone who told you their entire life story in one conversation. At first, you might have been interested, but the more they revealed, the less curious you became. Why? Because there was nothing left to discover. Now imagine the opposite. Someone who gave you just enough to spark curiosity, but not enough to satisfy it. Every word felt intentional. Every silence made you want to know more. That's mystery, and mystery is magnetic. Here's the secret. Women are wired to seek answers. to explore, to chase. But if you hand them every answer too soon, the chase ends. So instead of saying everything, say less. Instead of showing everything, show less. Instead of being an open book, be a book with a lock on the cover. Because what is locked is always more tempting than what is given freely. Seneca once wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned from many sufferings." The Stoics knew that silence creates power, because silence leaves room for interpretation, and interpretation creates curiosity. When you don't rush to explain yourself, when you don't overshare your plans, when you don't reveal every thought, you leave a gap. And in that gap, she starts imagining. And her imagination will always paint you as larger, deeper, and more valuable than you could ever describe yourself with words. So how do you create mystery in practice? Don't overshare your emotions. If you're upset, stay calm. If you're excited, don't gush. Keep your emotions measured. She doesn't need to know exactly how you feel at all times. Keep your schedule full. Don't always be available. If she texts, you don't reply instantly. If she asks what you're doing, don't always give details. A simple, busy with something important creates curiosity. Speak less, listen more. When she asks questions, don't spill everything. Answer with simplicity. Let her pull for more. The less you give, the more she invests. Surprise with action. Instead of announcing your plans, execute them. Instead of telling her what you're going to do, let her see it when you've already done it. Action without warning builds unpredictability. Weak men are open books. They think oversharing equals connection. They think being predictable equals security. They think giving everything up front makes her stay. But strong men know the opposite is true. They reveal slowly. They let her earn pieces of their world. They keep her guessing not in a manipulative way, but in a way that shows they have depth, they have focus, they have a life beyond her. And that's what drives her crazy. Here's the psychology. Humans value what is scarce. We chase what feels uncertain. And the unknown always pulls harder than the known. So when you're mysterious, you trigger that primal instinct. She starts thinking, what is he doing? Who is he with? Why doesn't he tell me everything? Why do I want to know more about him? That curiosity becomes desire. That desire becomes respect. And that respect makes you impossible to treat as an option. Ask yourself, do you give too much too soon? Do you reveal every detail of your life, every thought, every plan? Do you make yourself predictable and easy to figure out? If yes, stop. Stop trying to be understood. Stop trying to be fully seen. Stop trying to prove yourself through words. Instead, live with depth. Have passions, goals, and pursuits that you don't announce. You embody them. Be present in the moment, but keep parts of yourself sacred. That's mystery. And mystery is the oxygen of attraction. So remember this, the less they know, the more they want to know. Mystery is not about being secretive, it's about being layered. It's about being a man who reveals himself slowly, with purpose, with control. And once you've mastered mystery, the next step is critical. Valuing your time. Because mystery may draw her in, but if you don't value your time, she'll drain it. And in the next part, we're going to explore why time is your most valuable resource and how respecting it will make her respect you more than anything else. We've reached the final and most important lesson. You've learned emotional detachment. You've built boundaries. You've stopped using words and replaced them with action. You've mastered mystery. But none of it will matter if you don't value your time. Because time is the one resource you can never get back. And yet, it's the one thing men throw away the fastest when they like a woman. They rearrange their schedules. They wait around for hours. They cancel plans with friends. They drop everything just to get a little bit of her attention. And every time they do this, they send a silent message. My time isn't valuable. You are more important than my purpose, my mission, my life. And the moment she feels that, she loses respect. Imagine this. You're sitting at home, waiting for her to text you back. Your entire evening depends on whether she replies. Your phone buzzes, your heart races, and you wait like a prisoner on parole. Now compare that to the man who doesn't wait. The man who goes to the gym, reads a book, builds his business, works on his mission. His evening isn't dictated by her text, it's dictated by his purpose. Who do you think she respects more? The man who waits or the man who moves forward regardless? The answer is obvious. Here's the truth. If you don't value your time, no one else will. Not women, not friends, not colleagues. But when you protect your time, when you treat it like gold, when you refuse to waste it on games, you instantly separate yourself from every man who bends at the first hint of attention. That's how you rise above being an option. Because women don't prioritize men who are always available. They prioritize men who are busy, who are focused, who make them earn their time. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." Time is finite. Every hour you waste waiting for someone's attention is an hour stolen from your destiny. The Stoics understood this. Life is short, and every second matters. That's why valuing your time isn't just about attraction. It's about self-respect. It's about living fully. So how do you show through action that your time is valuable? Don't wait around. If she cancels, you don't pause your life. You keep moving. You make plans. You stay productive. Be busy with purpose. Don't just fill time with distractions. Fill it with growth workouts, projects, goals, skills. Let her see you're building something bigger than her. Make her earn your presence. Instead of being available 24/7, be selective. Don't always reply instantly. Don't rearrange your schedule for her. She should adapt to your world, not the other way around. Say no without guilt. If something doesn't align with your values or purpose, decline, calmly, firmly. No anger, no apology, just no. Weak men give their time freely. They think availability equals love. They think sacrificing their schedule equals loyalty. They think canceling their plans equals devotion. But strong men know the truth. The man who values his time most becomes the man everyone values most. And women feel this deeply. The man who is always available becomes boring. The man who is hard to access, because he's busy building his kingdom, becomes irresistible. Scarcity creates value, and your time must be scarce. And here's the bigger truth. Valuing your time isn't just about her, it's about you. Because every wasted hour is gone forever. Every day you spend chasing someone who doesn't prioritize you is a day you could have spent building a life where people chase you. Your future depends on how you spend your hours today, and the man who protects his time protects his destiny. So ask yourself, are you living for her attention, or are you living for your mission? Do you give away your hours like they're nothing, or do you guard them like gold? Because the man who values his time never becomes an option. He becomes a priority not because he demands it, but because his life is too valuable to be ignored. So let's tie everything together. Stop being her safety net. Master emotional detachment. Build unshakable boundaries. Speak less, act more. Carry mystery like a weapon. And above all, value your time. This is how you rise above being just an option. This is how you transform into a man who is respected, desired, and prioritized. Because the truth is simple. You teach the world how to treat you. And when you treat yourself like gold, no one dares treat you like scrap. So go build your life. Go protect your time. Go become the man she doesn't just want, but the man she has to earn. That is the Stoic way. That is how you stop being an option and start being the priority.